thought about saving and investment for you and your family, or maybe some capital investments? We encourage you to visit the Securities and Exchange Commission right here at the Zambia International Trade Fair so you can understand how you can go about that and how you can secure your future.
Yeah, I think the theme suits well with what we do. You know, our mandate is to send savings, which is money saved by people, to the private sector. And looking at that, you cannot unlock the potential, the economic potential without money. So the SEC has a mandate. We are a government agency that sits with a mandate to see that savings can go to the private sector. The theme and most of the programs that we have attended today is talking about how do we scale up? How can local manufacturers, for instance, get to produce more? You cannot produce more without money. So this is what we do. So we do bonds, shares, and other securities that are used to raise what we call long-term capital. By long-term, we mean more than 2 years, 5 years. We have some of the examples my colleagues are going to go through. For instance, if you want to put up a power plant, you're really talking about long-term, 10 years, 25 years, and that's the sort of capital that is found in the capital markets that the Securities and Exchange Commission is charged with. So we protect the investors, the people that put in money for those long-term projects. So basically that's what the Securities and Exchange Commission is all about. There are always exciting and new things happening in the capital markets. I think the latest is what we're calling green bonds. With the drought, I think everyone is now knowledgeable about the need to protect the environment. I hope that we had maybe taken the message to the public earlier in the sense that if we do not, you can actually have your savings affected. My favorite example is agriculture, which is close to everybody's, is it tummy or mouth? This is because without water, there's no food. But we can actually go into projects financed through the capital markets that could, for instance, conserve water. And with water conservation, then we can be assured that we can continue producing the food. But then, little did we know that without power, most of the things come to a standstill, right? So things like solar projects that can give us some guaranteed power are extremely important. So we've got green bonds, which my colleague is going to talk about. Green bonds is sustainability-related type of financing. There are people out there with a lot of money, but they can only invest in green projects. They are conscious, wants them to contribute to the global sustainability. I think if you're talking about sustainability, maybe we step back. You remember that there were times when there were people who didn't maybe invest in cigarettes, so they were socially responsible, or alcohol or things like that. But what we now have is about the environment. Without power, most of the industry is not running. And without power, even our homes are being affected. But you can come to the capital markets, raise funds. We have the latest example, I think, CEC Renewables, which is a subsidiary of CEC Zambia. They have put up a 63 megawatt solar plant in Itimbi. It's already generating. We visited it and saw with our eyes what capital markets can do when you use them effectively. So basically that's what we're doing, to raise money, come to the capital markets and raise long-term funds.
So at the Securities and Exchange Commission, I'm in charge of market supervision and development. So if you look at our mandate, we've got two things: develop the market and also make sure that whoever comes to play in our market behaves in an orderly manner. So if you look at what we deal with mobilizing capital from people that have surplus funds to the people that need capital, who we refer to as issuers. So you can imagine if there's no behavior a proper behavior by the people that are coming into our market, then the people that have capital will not give it to us, to the people that need capital. So that's in a nutshell, in a very simplistic way, is what my role involves. Developing the market, making sure that capital markets grow and they make their rightful contribution to the economic development of the country. But on the other hand, making sure that we do it in an orderly way, that there's no misbehavior, for lack of a better term. So in terms of why we are here, it's actually twofold. It's market development, which includes awareness. We want the people out there, the Zambian people, to know about the Securities and Exchange Commission, to know about capital markets, to know how they can participate in capital markets. We are very keen on the youth. So towards the end, we've actually got a lot of groups that are visiting the stands. And the reason is simple. We need to educate the children about capital markets, about savings, about saving for the future. It's not about saving it's not about eating everything that you get. Your parents give you a small ngwes. We are trying to educate them to save those small ngwes, because something in future will demand that we spend money, and we have to be ready for it. So other than awareness, it's also to educate the public about the products that are available for raising capital. You've heard about the green bonds. So green bonds, as you may know, they are the instruments that we use for raising capital in a sustainable way, in a way that doesn't harm the environment. But that also points to what our role is as well, is to create an enabling environment for business. So if you've got a product out there that you want to introduce in the capital markets, but there's no framework, what we do as the Commission is to make sure that that framework is in place. And green bonds is an example of one. 2019, there was no framework for someone to issue a green bond. So the private sector reached out to us and said, we need a framework. We can't issue a green bond. Investors are crying for a green bond. So we came up with a framework. Another framework that we've come up with, if you go around the stand, is what we are calling a real investment trust. And all that does is it allows you and I, who can't afford to buy a shopping mall that's worth maybe 100 million kwacha, but we can get a share in a shopping mall by participating in what is called a real investment trust. And all you need is the minimum amount, 50 kwacha, 100 kwacha, 10,000 kwacha, whatever amount you have, you can invest and have a share in a shopping mall, other than having to buy a whole entire shopping mall, because we probably can't afford it at that level. So that just shows one of the things that we do in terms of creating an enabling environment.
Just to build on from what my colleague Nondem was speaking towards what we're doing around children's programs, I think the Securities and Exchange Commission has played an instrumental role when it comes to implementing financial education, which obviously targets children, youths and adults. With the children focus, we do, alongside our peer regulators, implement the National Strategy on Financial Education for Zambia, which has been running for a couple of years, since 2013. And there we have awareness campaigns that are undertaken annually. And for capital markets, we've particularly devised investor education programs that speak to children investor education. So we have what we call, for instance, the Capital Markets Schools Challenge, which is targeting secondary school pupils. We also have been working closely with the Ministry of Education to try and roll out extracurricular activities for children in primary schools, grades 5 and 6. We are working with the Prudence Foundation and Junior Achievement to execute that. So we've done a lot of programs, TOT programs, training of trainees for the teachers, just to try and build that capacity for them to effectively undertake those programs in schools. Those are just some of the activities we're doing for children. And alongside that, we've also devised investor education games just to make learning more fun. And now speaking to the Capital Markets Master Plan, I think you may know that our capital markets have remained nascent for a long time. So there has been a deliberate move by government to develop our capital markets, because they've been identified as an essential component of the financial sector, which can help drive the economic growth of the country and also necessitate the stability.